Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Monday Night Raw review. This was the Fallout show from Royal Rumble just last night, and I gotta say, for me, I quite enjoyed this show. I thought it was a solid episode of Raw. There were some questionable decision made, some, head scratchers, but overall, I was actually really entertained by this show. I don't really have many qualms with it, and I'm actually excited to talk about this show with you, Ashton, and the developments that it had going into our next big show, Fastlane, February 21st. We started down the road for that pay-per-view tonight. What did you think of it?
Yeah, this was a solid show. My whole thing when I'm kind of grading how good I think a Raw was, I kind of start in the middle. So, like, if I go an entire Raw without giving a shit about anything, nothing is great, nothing is bad, I'll probably give it like a 5 out of 10, right? But then, like, for every great thing that happens, I'll increase the score by a little. And for every really horrible, offensive thing that happens, I'll decrease the score by a little. That didn't really work out so well tonight because there were a few things that I got really angry about, and I feel like there weren't really any exceptional moments on this show.
I could understand that.
Don't get me wrong, there was some really entertaining stuff on this show, but from an actual wrestling storyline, stuff that's going to matter next week perspective, we didn't really get anything great.
Yeah, I could see what you're saying there. That's why, again, I think because of what you and I have been saying to each other in conversation before TWitWoW, I'm going to be very excited to go segment by segment with you and just share each other's thoughts and really just look to Fastlane. Right. So, with that said, you want to get right into our first segment?
Absolutely, we need to.
Heat of the night! And I don't have any heats of the night tonight or any nitpicks. I do have my pen out, though, because I have a feeling I'm going to be affixing my signature to some of the things my cohort and commentator is going to be saying. So, Ashton, what about you? What qualms did you have with this show tonight?
Okay, well, first of all, I know you do have a heat of the night, but we talked about it before the show, and you're just going to agree with one of mine.
Yes, that's why I said I got my pen out. So
Right, so I have 2 heats of the night and a nitpick.
Okay, let's start with the nitpick first.
The nitpick is really simple, and it's not something that's ever actually going to change, but I still feel like I need to say it. The Rock needs to stop slut-shaming Lana.
Yeah, it's always been a part of Rock's shtick, which doesn't make it excusable.
Just the whole idea, though, that, this woman is engaged to be married to someone else, and The Rock brings up an imaginary night where she came to his hotel room, they got drunk and banged.
Right.
That, I don't know, it just strikes me the wrong way. Now, I'm not necessarily trying to go full-on white knight here and be like, oh, Lana is this symbol of purity and you can't be talking about her that way, because I don't care about that. But when Rock is just making random crap up to make himself seem like a stud and make Lana seem like a slut, and therefore slut-shaming her, I do have a problem with that. And it's not even just Lana. It could be anyone. If you were, even if we want to go back to the whole, Lana talking about how she's saving herself for marriage line. This whole idea that sex, just having premarital sex is taboo on the WWE's programming annoys me. And it's just something that I had to bring up. I'm going to stop talking about it for the rest of the night now, though.
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from. The idea that sex still has this kind of perception in the WWE, it's really quite an archaic perception, and they should be growing and evolving. So I totally get it. But now, to get to the real potatoes of everything, your 2 heats of the night. So let's get to it.
All right, I'm going to start as far as heat of the night goes. I have 2, so I'm going to start with the one that I can, it's more of a personal thing than full on like they made a big mistake here. The New Day has decisively beaten the Usos multiple times now, including 2 different opportunities at the World Tag Team Championships. And tonight we got pretty solid evidence that the New Day Usos program is going to be continuing. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, I just think this is wrong on so many levels. First of all, in a kayfabe context, to your point, the New Day has already beaten Usos, in two different matches now, TLC, that triple threat ladder match, and then most recently at the Rumble last night, which was just the Usos one-on-one with the New Day. No other teams were involved. And then in a non-kayfabe context, the idea that this program is continuing in spite of all that overwhelming evidence that we just mentioned really shows how much the tag team division on the main roster is lacking. Like, it just shows, like, the big gaping hole that's in the division, knowing that these two guys are pretty much the bandages, trying to keep it together. I think it's a sad state of affairs when a program that should be over, it's like beating a dead horse at this point.
I would rather see Goldust and R-Truth go after the tag titles than the Usos again.
And honestly, given the interaction of those two tonight, I completely agree. I'll be excited to talk about that, because I actually think I could sink my teeth into that team, and I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Like, really, to steal a phrase from Bray Wyatt, anybody but the Usos at this point. We've been dying for guys like Enzo and Cass to come up. Hell, even Jordan and Gable at this point, if they wanted to call those guys up, I wouldn't complain. Any NXT team, just to inject some life, some vitality in this division that just seems so lacking, which is so funny too, because I feel like on the main roster, the tag team division is in a crippling state of affairs. On the NXT roster, I feel like the tag team division's having kind of like a renaissance. It's never been better to me.
Yeah.
So it's just funny how things work out, but I completely agree with you. I guess I'm going to be affixing my pen to both your eights tonight, because, yeah, I can totally see why you'd have a qualm with that.
Yeah, and the funny thing, too, is, like, we did the Divas Revolution, where we brought 3 NXT talents up all at the same time, and that was kind of a mess at first, but now it's kind of straightened itself out, and we have a strong Divas division now, and specifically the half of the division that's actually vying for the championship, as opposed to the other half who's just kind of embroiled in their own Total Divas drama.
Right.
But I think now we need a tag team revolution, because if they would do the exact same segment that Steph did with Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte, but have Triple H be introducing, or, I mean, sadly, Dusty's not around anymore, because I would love for it to be him, but some other, like, advocate for tag team wrestling, maybe bring out Edge and Christian to do it, introduce Jordan and Gable, Enzo and Cass, and maybe, like, Blake and Murphy. I'd be cool with that. Like, just bring teams up to the main roster. And, I mean, the great thing with NXT is when they lost their top 3 women, they still have Bayley around, and NXT would still have the Mechanics and, sadly, the Hype Bros, and, of course, the Vaudevillains around. So it's not like they would be completely barren, and then they could build up more tag teams, including maybe if they want to stick Sawyer Fulton or Angelo Dawkins with different partners, they could do that. And I just feel like it would be better for everyone, because, WWE brings up 3 women and basically bankrupts NXT's women divisions. And so what does NXT do? They keep one of the 3 women that got called up around for just long enough to put one of their women over enough that she can have a massive, awesome title run while they rebuild. And in the meantime, they are also pushing the tag team division to the forefront. If the tag teams get called up, I imagine then the male singles division would get pushed to the forefront. They have so much talent to work with down there that getting call-ups is easy for them. Well, maybe not easy, but it's possible for them to overcome.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Any deficit that NXT seemingly suffers, it won't be long before they fully compensate and they're back in the green.
Yeah.
So I see no reason why we can't do, using your words, a tag team revolution like we did with the Divas Revolution. And I could see that going over, very well, especially, with it being so close to WrestleMania season. And hell, if you want to do it after WrestleMania season, still a peak time to do it. So yeah, let's put in the work here. So what's your second heat of the night?
Well, and before I move on, I do want to say, especially because Vince is such a mark for this whole idea that, tag team wrestling is only good to build single stars. Okay, well, the 3 tag teams I mentioned, do you really think that Vince is going to have a problem building up Big Cass, Buddy Murphy, and Jason Jordan as single stars?
No, I do not whatsoever.
Three big, huge, athletic dudes that Vince can completely get behind.
Yeah, man.
So that's my whole thing for that first one, and it really all just comes back to me being incredibly over the Usos. Now to move on, though, heat of the night number 2, this is more of a logical fallacy than anything. This is the WWE's writers trying to kind of write themselves out of a corner, and in the meantime not realizing that they're already backed into the corner with no way out. The Authority opened the show talking about how, at the end of the show, we're going to tell you guys what the main event of Fastlane is going to be, and that match is going to determine the number one contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And obviously then they'll get to face Triple H in the main event of WrestleMania. So we have all these matches all night, and then at the end of the show they come out, and the announced match that the Authority handpicked, they put together on their own watches, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar. Now tell me, if you were an evil Authority figure, who in their right mind in that position would give Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose even an opportunity to earn an opportunity to go against Triple H at WrestleMania?
It makes no sense to me, personally, especially when you and I were kind of hashing it out in conversation. The loosest justification, and to be clear, I am not subscribing to this because I am with you all the way that this is a logical fallacy, this is crap. But the loosest justification that the Authority could say is that they just want to see Roman suffer, another one make him suffer, like having to fight his best friend just to get another shot at the world title, plus the guy that he couldn't beat at WrestleMania, and Brock Lesnar. But that still doesn't change the fact, why would you put a guy that you clearly perceive as a threat and that you don't like on every conceivable plane, in the hunt for the championship?
Exactly. It's completely nonsensical. This is one of the biggest problems with the WWE having this super heel Authority entity, because when you want to make decent heel versus face main events for pay-per-views and it comes from these heel characters, it creates these fallacies. If the WWE wanted this match to happen, they could have written it in such a way that Dean and Roman would have had to earn their ways into this rather than just randomly winning a tag team match against two members of the League of Nations tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you could have had them earn their way into it if you really wanted to tick Roman off, because again, he is the object of their hatred and everything, right? You could have said, well, it's going to be Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar, leaving him out in the cold, because here's my thing. You know they don't give a shit about Dean Ambrose.
You could even play off the fact that Triple H isn't worried about Dean because he already knows he can beat him because he was the one that eliminated him last night at the Rumble.
Exactly, it came down to those two. And what I took note of in the opening segment, didn't mention Dean Ambrose once in the opening segment. They are totally looking past this guy.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They could have said, Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar, because they're thinking, this is the Lamb, this is the Slaughter. And, they get to laugh their asses off. And then maybe down the line, you could have had Roman, get in some kind of matchup, and then we'd have a triple threat at Mania. Whoever won at Fastlane between Ambrose and Lesnar, Triple H and Reigns.
There were two, if you really desperately want to do Triple H versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, which at this point I don't even agree with. I don't even think that's the best option, but it doesn't matter what I think because this is the WWE. If you were dead set on that happening, you would have been better off doing Dean versus Brock and then having Roman face Triple H. Well, there are two options. You could either have Roman face Triple H at Fastlane and Triple H cheats to win, therefore Roman gets a rematch. And then maybe you have Roman face the winner of Brock Ambrose for the right to face Triple H at Mania, since then Roman would have a right and the winner of that match would have a right. They face each other. That's more Lucha Underground style booking. But the other option, if you want to go pure WWE style booking, you set up Ambrose versus Lesnar, and then in the weeks leading up to that, have Roman Reigns go on a tear. Have Roman do what Daniel Bryan did 2 years ago, beat everybody up, get riots started by the crowd, do everything in his power to get himself inserted into that match and drag the Authority kicking and screaming into doing it. The way they did it, though, the Authority was just like, you know what? Yeah, Roman's a good guy. He deserves another shot. No! It doesn't make any sense.
That no was perfect. That just encapsulated all the frustration, all the anger. This kind of booking. Yeah, again, they may just be thinking, look at us punishing Roman Reigns by making him fight his best friend and confronting, his own inadequacies by the guy
and
he could
yet
never beat.
All they really did was give him a friend to help him fight Brock.
Exactly, and you put him within proximity of the championship that you said in the opening segment. You all agreed he doesn't deserve to be champion. So if he doesn't deserve to be champion, then subsequently he doesn't deserve to be in proximity of the championship. Because logic.
Exactly.
Oh, my brain. I already have a migraine. We barely even started.
Well,
Is there
I mean,
anything
the
else?
good news is that was the entirety of the negativity that I had going into this review, because everything else on this show was pretty good to pretty really entertaining, really.
Yeah, for me it was either just purely entertaining or it served its function to the point that I really couldn't even take umbrage with it because
Right.
it was there for a purpose and it fulfilled that purpose. So with that said, is there anything else you want to say for the Heat of the Night segment?
No.
All right, then, let us get right into our Monday Night Raw review. And we open the show. We start with Vince and Stephanie. And I got to say, I enjoyed the energy here from these guys. I mean, Vince especially, and I can't believe I'm giving this man a compliment. I enjoyed his heel work on the mic here. I even put as a little joke. I loved his confession that he just, he takes joy and pleasure in the suffering of others. Because I thought to myself, oh, well, that's something me and him have in common. So, this is a good
I mean,
here.
at one point in the past, didn't he come right out and say that he gets an erection when people are suffering?
Yeah, I think he did. Oh, man. So,
Or
yeah, the whole...
other people's misery gives him a hard-on or something like that. He said something very literal in that sense.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me. I think I know what you're talking about, and because it's Vince, yeah, I think that was pretty on the nose there. So yeah, pretty much Vince and Stephanie are like, we don't care that you guys are suffering.
Let's not get it twisted. Vince McMahon, this is the same man that once said that he wanted the Undertaker's wife to get raped.
Yeah, I remember that segment. That was so disturbing. Oh my God, Vince. So then you have Triple H come out, after Vince and Stephanie are just like, oh, we don't care that you guys are taken over, that you're hurting. We broke Roman Reigns. We pierced his heart. He's a broken man. Then Triple H comes out to follow that. I like Triple H's work here because he did answer, some questions that might be looming if you're like a casual fan, like, oh, why would a guy that went from, in-ring competitor into the boardroom, like, why would you put yourself in here? And he said, I don't need to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I want to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion because I see guys like Roman Reigns also want to be champion and they don't deserve it. So I guess that's the game's function, kind of being the gatekeeper. Like people who deem worthy, I'm not going to permit to have this title. So I thought it was good. Mic work there by Triple H. And it did kind of take me off again. I put in my notes, zero acknowledgement of Dean Ambrose. It was all Roman Reigns. But, I said I understood it because, again, this is Roman Reigns' program. What are you going to do? And, of course, we cap off the segment by finding out that at the end of Raw tonight, we will know the main event. And so, it's always a talking segment. I'm so used to this. But you know what? I've seen worse ones. This one was good. I was entertained by the people involved. Can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing to me that stands out, I think it's really good. This is something that we haven't had since Rollins left. It's good to have a champion that can cut promos again.
Yes, I do agree with you there. Absolutely.
As repetitive as Triple H.
In fact, I will say too, is just like
still cut them.
Yes, and you know what? Just in that same vein, I wanted to make a quick side note here. The guys that I have always felt like have been weaker on the mic, though they're like bigger performers, in terms of their profile and everything. I liked how, when they had them, it was kept very succinct. Like any talking segment they had, there were no really long, drawn-out talking segments from bigger guys that I have never really felt like could talk. So that was another thing I think this Raw did right tonight. So, yeah, great promo here from Triple H. Do you have anything else you want to say about the opening segment?
Nope, I'm good. The only real notes that I have are just kind of what happened, so I don't really have any extra commentary to add.
All right, and then we go to our opening matchup, Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler. I said I enjoyed this. We've seen these guys in the ring several times before. They've established a baseline of chemistry. I do think they mix it up quite well. I like how Dolph, started this matchup. I mean, super kick right out of the box. Good back and forth between these two.
That's because he had that signature move saved up from last night he never got to use.
Exactly. Had it stored up, and he's like, oh, I can use it. Triangle button, and then bam, just right there. Yep. Finish comes, Ziggler gets straddled on the top rope, he collapses, and then Owens, capitalizes on that with the pop-up powerbomb. I put here that I really do commend that Owens had 24 hours ago being in 2 matches and losing both of them, to come out here and get the win and enduring the pain and everything, because that's, to me, how you make a quality heel. Yeah. And I think you really need those. So when you have a guy like Owens endure all the endured, but then still come out the next night on Raw because he realizes he has an opportunity to impress and he beats Dolph Ziggler, that says, yeah, I'm nobody to mess with. I'm not your typical chicken shit heel. I'm Kevin Owens, damn it. And you're going to pay attention to me. So I really like that. Really appreciated that they got the win. And the match, yeah, it was a fun match. If you've seen these guys work once, you've seen them work here. So, good match.
Yeah, this was probably my favorite match of the night, believe it or not. I love that Owens, first of all, still selling the injuries and the fatigue from last night. Second of all, though, the fact that he won after everything that he's been through over the last 24 hours, I mean, what is there even to say about this guy anymore? How was he not a part of the the Fastlane match to determine the number one contender?
Dude, and I'm saying this like non-K, because you know what a big fan of Kevin Owens I am, and I get
I'm
into
talking
it
just
stick.
in kayfabe,
But yeah,
like he went through hell last night. He lost a last man standing match and then proceeded to still limp his way into the Royal Rumble, get a few eliminations before getting thrown out, and then he won a match on Raw tonight.
and you know I could have bought a Fatal 4-Way with Kevin Owens' name involved, because he still is like that. Well, I mean, not anymore, but he just recently cut ties with Ambrose.
Yeah.
You could have continued that for just a little bit longer, but make it title. Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm right there with you. Kevin Owens was incredibly impressive in a cave context, and in a non-cave context, let me just say, I'm still waiting for this guy to just have the cuffs come off and just be that freaking heel. Like, I'm hoping 2016 can be his year, because he is one of the best guys, one of the best kept secrets on the main roster right now as far as heels go. I mean, with Rollins out and
Let's
Triple H
not
holding
try and make it seem like Kevin Owens is this big secret. He's not a secret at all. Everyone loves him, except, I mean, you know, the WWE just seems to think he's an upper mid-carder. I think he's a main eventer.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Ashton, I think why I say that is because I don't know if casual fans that just watch the main roster product know how good Kevin Owens is. And, you know, he is really insanely good to me. I think when you give him a microphone, you give him a great feud. I'm just waiting to really see him break out. Maybe this year will be the year, but regardless, he does win tonight. That's all that matters. Because he's a father, damn it, and he's back on a roll. So, with that said, anything else you want to say about this match?
Yeah, buy the t-shirt!
Yeah, damn it. All right. We move on to our second segment.
Seriously, though, buy the t-shirt.
Yeah, really. We'd really appreciate it. Second segment here. JoJo with an interview with Roman Reigns. She pretty much asked Roman Reigns point blank. You know, Vince McMahon came out and he said, you know, they pierced your heart. You're a broken man. And, you know, what's your response to all this? And, again, I put that I really like that Roman kept it succinct. He said, you know, people, man, they're just ridiculous. Hey, listen, JoJo, do me a favor. You tell the authority that I'm here, and I'm not leaving until I hear that announcement. And then he walks off. So, you know what? No complaints. He didn't go on this monologue, whatever. He addressed JoJo's question directly. He said, I'm here. I'm going to wait out that announcement. Nothing more you can say than that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, we're starting to get a little bit of a Cena vibe from him, though, as far as no selling losses goes.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because he didn't even look that dismayed, which bothered me greatly.
Exactly.
You know, like, come on, man. You got screwed. You know, so what are you going to do? But I do agree with you. That is something that we shouldn't let fly under the radar. You know, when it happens, call him out on it. So I definitely completely agree with you. With that said, let's move on. Next segment here, Social Outcasts confronting Flo Rida. Now let me qualify this. On the Social Outcast side, this was amazing.
Yeah.
And normally I get so nervous when it's a celebrity segment, because they're either going to tank, or you get a celebrity that really, you know, enjoys WWE, that's involved with the product, and they can do pretty well. This, I would say, is the latter, but only because the Social Outcasts are so freaking good. What did you think about this, Ashton?
Yeah, dude, here's the thing. Flo Rida, I'm sorry, I'm white. Flo Rida is a legitimate, I forget if it's Grammy or Emmy, but he's some kind of an award-winning rapper. And now, granted, he's a rapper by technicality because he raps in his songs, but he makes pop music.
Right.
Like, he's not like one of these, you know, freaking Kanye West, Eminem, you know, DMX, legit like gangster rap type guys. He is a pop music artist who just happens to rap in his songs. So the fact that he didn't have the chops to come out here and do this amazing freestyle doesn't surprise me at all. Like, if they would have had somebody who actually is known for that out there, I would have been amazed at the, you know, the rap that they went on to perform. But Flo Rida, you know, And plus, this guy, even if you don't want to necessarily discredit him as a rapper, he is the definition of corporate rap. He's not, he's got the auto-tune going on. He makes club music. This dude is the definition of a sellout. He probably has 99% of his lyrics written before he even speaks a word for him. So no, am I surprised that he got out-rapped by a frickin' novelty gimmick wrestler? No, I'm not, because tonight someone in the back in the writing room found out that they had more talent for writing rap than Flo Rida.
Yeah, they really did, because Bo killed it here with his delivery. I put plain and simple, this is the most entertaining thing he's done since coming to the main roster. Like, finally, I feel like we got something truly Bo Dallas-esque, in this segment. I thought he killed it. He even made a Full House reference in his rap, which, of course, I mean, just one and done, baby. I freaking loved it. Bo Dallas, undisputed champ. So I love that the Social Outcasts got this kind of exposure. But Flo Rida's rap, though, as a retort, did, end with Welcome to Dudleyville. We got Dudley Boys music hits. They come out, so we transition into our second match of the night. Dudley Boys versus Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel representing the Social Outcasts. This is your by-the-numbers tag team match. Babyface tag team and the Dudleys get all their signature offense in. And then the finishing sequence, comes in because Flo Rida was at ringside. Him and Heath Slater have a little exchange. Of course, Slater is embarrassed. Dudley's capitalized. The 3D on Curtis Axel and get the win.
Yeah.
So not a bad match. A match that served its purpose. Although I will say, as a piece of side commentary, Bo's singlet looks absolutely, which is exactly why it is perfect. So good stuff there. And
dude,
yeah,
I'm just gonna say it. It's weird. I feel like Bo Dallas is wearing a Jordan and Gable singlet with Social Outcasts plastered across the front.
I know, right? It's so weird, dude. Like, when I saw it, I didn't really even know what to think about it, but I'm like,
dude,
you know what?
At this point, the only thing that's left is for him to get that amateur wrestling style headgear. Then he would be perfect.
Yes, dude. I mean, go all the way with it. Go full ham, baby. Go full ham.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm telling you guys, I've said this before, and people have disagreed with me. The Social Outcasts are the white New Day.
Yes, completely. Yeah, there's really no other description for it. With that said, anything else you want to say about this match or the preceding segment with Flo Rida?
I think you said it best, John. This was a cookie-cutter tag team match.
There you go. Next segment, AJ Styles interview with Renee. Again, I mean, this is what I kind of alluded to earlier when I made that side note in the opening segment about babyfaces that weren't great on the mic, even though they have this immense star power, keeping it succinct. Because AJ, says, Renee asks him, how did it feel, debuting at the Rumble and this and that? And AJ says, I turned the WWE Universe upside down. And before he could continue about who AJ Styles is, Chris Jericho cuts him off. He builds up AJ Styles as like this international sensation. You've been all over the world, and I'm so excited. I've been waiting for you to come here, to come to the big leagues, where you belong. And then he says, for as great as he is, Chris Jericho, that's your debut. I'm not going to make it easy for you. I am going to come out with the win. But, hey, good luck out there, kid. And I love that patronizing tone at the end from Jericho, because you and I don't want to speak for you, but I know I got giddy thinking, oh, man, is Jericho going to turn heel here? So really like that Jericho had that cockiness, that kind of smugness about him, while also building up AJ Styles. This is a great exchange between the two, I think, and mostly just Jericho talking. So,
yeah, absolutely. My thing here, I do kind of wish that, and we'll talk more about this in the actual match that's coming up just about next. I wish they would do a better job of really highlighting what AJ can do. I feel like they're really holding back on him, and it's not doing him any favors.
Yeah, I gotta say, for everything that I think WWE is doing right with AJ Styles, which is quite a bit for the record, I actually feel like they're handling him better than I gave them credit for.
With commentary and everything, they're doing a really good job of building him up as legitimate, but he's not, it's horrible for me to say, but he's not being allowed to back the talk up in the ring.
Right, he's not able to walk it like they talk it for him. You know,
Yeah,
it's
like Byron Saxton last night said that he was one of the greatest innovators of offense ever. And if somebody wanted to hear that and take that to heart, they would be incredibly disappointed with what they've seen from him so far.
Yeah, and you would have to go back and watch his prior stuff, but I don't think in WWE you'd want them to do that because you should want the best stuff shown on your product.
Exactly.
You know, you don't want the past to be like, oh, what's TNA? What's ROH? Because that's driving eyes away from your product. So, you know, take the cuffs off AJ, you know, take off the shackles, no longer have him restrained. Let him show what he can do. If you're saving it for Mania, I say that's crap. I mean, I can understand it on one end, but you want to show it now so you can get the buy rate for AJ's Mania matchup. You know, those subscriptions, I mean, for the network. With that said, I mean, we do go right into the AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho matchup. Now, you and I did do live reactions for this, but are there any comments you want to make here on this forum about this matchup?
No. I think just go watch live reactions.
I agree. Go watch live reactions. I think you get the best analysis there.
I think the biggest thing that I would say about this match is what I already said. I'm just disappointed that we didn't get more from AJ. Like this, it's funny because if someone is not familiar with AJ Styles at all, they're just seeing him for the first time in WWE. All that they've seen him do so far is sell.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think your preceding analysis was so on point. I co-signed to all of that. But yeah, if you really want a breakdown of the matchup and our thoughts, go to live reactions. I had so much fun doing that. I thought that was great. We got to really commemorate AJ Styles' in-ring debut, you know, in singles action for the WWE. So there you go. Moving right along, though, our next matchup, Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. You know what? It's like I was telling you, because you asked me about it when this match had concluded. I thought this was a fun matchup that saw great back and forth between Sasha and Becky. Sasha doing great heel work like she always does. You know, the slap to the face, the trash talk like, oh, are you sad that you lost last night? Well, spotlight's on me now, you know, really shoving in Becky's face. It's like, your time is done. You're in the back of the line. I'm next in line for that Divas Championship. And this is just a great back and forth matchup that actually saw the finishing sequence like this because Sasha didn't necessarily out wrestle Becky. Becky just made an ill maneuver. Sasha capitalized. She got Becky in the bang. I mean, that would Becky would have tapped out because I think the bank statement's been built up as a legit yet to lose on the main roster. But then Charlotte comes down and beats down both of them. You know, her offense actually more focused, I would think, on Becky than on Sasha. But what I loved about this was I feel like it keeps Sasha protected because she has yet to be beat, even though she had this match won. And really for Becky, it helps her avoid having to eat another loss after just being beat by Charlotte in controversial fashion 24 hours prior. And because Charlotte still beat her down, that keeps her in the hunt, and that tells me that Becky's time in the Divas Championship picture isn't over. So I thought this match and the fallout was handled incredibly well. What did you think?
You know, I think, John, just to be clear, Charlotte attacked Becky, not Sasha.
Well, I mean, she attacked Becky, but then she also did do some stuff to
Sasha.
No,
I mean, at first.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's
okay.
That's what I said. Like, yeah.
So then, did Becky win via disqualification since Charlotte went after her first?
I'm guessing she did, yeah.
Okay, that's cool. What I'm noticing here, though, is it seems like, do you remember, and I'm sure you do, I just want to bring it up for our audience, when we had the whole Divas Revolution thing, and we had the 3 teams of 3, they were basically treating Team PCB as the baby faces, Team Bad as the heels, and then Team Bella sort of acted as tweeners, where they were heels against PCB and then baby faces against Team Bad, right?
Right.
They're doing that with Sasha here. Sasha is a heel against Becky and a baby face against Charlotte, and I hate it.
So you don't like Sasha as a tweener kind of straddling that line?
I don't like anybody as that kind of tweener. If somebody's going to be a tweener, it should be because they're just a badass and they just kill anyone that gets in their way. But Sasha and, of course, referring to the older situation, Team Bella, don't fit that mold.
No, they don't. Yeah, I could see your contentions with that.
A tweener isn't somebody who's a good guy against some people and a bad guy against other people. A tweener is somebody with no alignment that doesn't care, that will kill anybody that gets in their way.
Right.
You know, and even though you could say, oh, well, that's exactly what Sasha is, it's different because her character isn't consistent. Her character changes depending on who she's going against. And that's not something that actually works. It's, I mean, say what you will about the WWE being, still kind of run by carnies and stuff. They still at least try to pretend that they are legitimate cinema. Vince always talks about, oh, we make movies on Monday nights. And, one of the most important parts to getting somebody interested in a movie or a TV show or any other form of entertainment, characters having a consistent motivation.
Yeah.
So now Sasha is motivated when she's going against Charlotte. She's motivated by the Divas Championship. But when she's going against Becky Lynch, all she's motivated by is being in the spotlight. It just it's not consistent.
No. And, I do think, Sasha is such a great performer that maybe she can pull this out and make this work. But WWE shouldn't even have to be making it this hard for her. Just keep her as a heel where the bread and butter is. And, just let her do her thing, to everybody. Like you said, establish that consistency. I feel like she had that consistency, when she was just full-blown heel. And now the waters have been kind of muddied a little bit. I'm still intrigued by these implications because you and I were talking. I think this signals a triple threat match at Fastlane. But considering that we already got one tonight, as we already talked about at the top of the show, Ambrose, Reigns, and Lesnar, I don't know if we'll do 2 triple threats in the same night, but that remains to be seen. But if we do get it, it'll be interesting to see who comes out with the championship. If they're just so committed to Charlotte having this run and dropping into WrestleMania, or if we get a title change there. But we still got a lot of time between now and Fastlane. But yeah, I did enjoy this segment. I do agree with you with your contentions about Sasha Banks. I'll be interested to see how Sasha the character, kind of addresses her problems with Becky and Charlotte, because that may illuminate some things. But until they put a mic in her hand or give her a segment, I guess we're just left kind of sitting on our hands. So anything else you want to say about this?
Let's move on. We have a comedy segment up next. Goldust in the locker room telling R-Truth that he's looking for a new partner. The stutter is back for Goldust. I don't know why. Maybe black men with dreadlocks bring it out in him because the last time he had it, he was with Booker T. Maybe Vince McMahon thinks R-Truth is Booker T because we all know he's racist. But whatever it is, I dig it. I think Goldust with a stutter is hilarious. Probably insensitive, yes, but it's one of those things where WWE is going to do it whether we're offended by it or not. So I'm going to choose to enjoy and laugh at it. R-Truth takes Goldust saying that he needs a new partner as a sexual thing, and he's like, I don't swing that way. You're climbing or you're barking up the wrong tree, et cetera, and he just kind of walks off. And then Goldust says, I meant tag team partner. So there you go. I hope these guys become a tag team and usurp the Usos as the number 1 contenders for the New Day's Championship.
I will tell you right now, and I even told you in conversation while the main event was in progress, I don't know if it's just that I'm in a good mood tonight. Somebody left the laughing gas on, whatever. I love this. I just got the biggest, stupidest smile on my face. I think Goldust is great. I love his bizarre, just off-putting, kind of character. He's rubbing himself and he's doing the breeze. Listen to presumably R-Truth's music on one of his albums. R-Truth, he has just got this character down to a science. And R-Truth is one of those guys that I think really illustrate why you need to have like a solid like undercard, and those in the undercard you should be appreciating, because the guy is consistent and he does his job incredibly well. So the idea that these two guys could come together and be a tag team, I can so get behind. I'm actually hoping Golden Truth wins the titles. I do. I would not have any qualms with this being the team that beats the New Day. I know they're just thrown together. I know it's going to take some time, but honestly, compared to the Usos, yeah, I'm all on board with this. I just think the comedy segments, I want them to keep having these. I want them to do with these. I mean, it's funny because you said Goldust and Booker T. I would like to see R-Truth and Goldust keep having segments like they did when they were building up Goldust and Booker T. Because I think they have good chemistry here, and I want to see more from these guys. I had fun with this.
Well, John, I have a bit of bad news to share with you.
Oh, why?
No, it's not actual bad news. It's my personal sort of, I'm guessing it's going to happen bad news.
Okay.
I'm thinking we're going to get, this isn't necessarily like a permanent thing. It's going to just be Goldust looking for a partner, and R-Truth was the first person he asked. He's probably going to ask a few other people. And the good news to come out of this is I'm guessing it's going to lead to him getting to Cody Rhodes, and we're going to get Cody back instead of Stardust.
Yeah, I'm guessing you saw Stardust's Twitter.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Yeah. I have to agree. You know what? It's not the worst news because I actually did enjoy Goldust and Cody Rhodes' run as a tag team, particularly their interactions with the Shield when they were still a thing, and the Wyatts and other teams. So, again, could be worse news, but I'll be honest, man, if it is going to be Golden Truth, I mean, if there is still some hope, I can sink my teeth into that, man. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the next segment, which was the Bray Wyatt versus Kane match. You know, this was really weird because the match started out fine. You know, Kane's pyro was working again. But then we went to a commercial, and when we came back from the commercial, the crowd was weirdly hostile towards this match. And I think that the reason for that, and I'm just having been reading reports from the arena itself, I think that the guys that were cosplaying in the front row that The Rock ended up addressing later on in the night were sort of having issues dealing with security. Like security was trying to kick them out or something, and the crowd was really angry about that.
Right.
So I don't think the crowd was even paying attention to this match, sadly. Bray did win via Sister Abigail, but I don't think the crowd was paying as much attention to that as they were the guys that were cosplaying as, you know, former wrestlers, current legends.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I was trying to connect the dots of why they got so angry with this match, because there was nothing really bad about this match. I put here, to me, it was a good matchup, nothing to write home about. You know, just a good matchup that I think served its function. And I even put here that I echoed your sentiments, Ashton, from what we kind of shared in conversation with each other, that the over-reliance Bray has had on the family since coming to the main roster, it is frustrating in moments like this, because you think about Kane is a little over, like, his 40s, you know, he is in that 40 range in age, and, you know, Bray Wyatt should be able to readily handle Kane as this kind of veteran, you know, whatever. But, you know, he doesn't. You know, obviously the family had to interfere for him to even get Sister Abigail. It's grown worthy, but whatever. We're used to it by now. No use complaining about it now when it's been an established fact, you know, really since his debut. Post-match beatdown I put was fine. Strowman is a beast, and I enjoy every opportunity taken to remind us of that fact. So no complaints here.
Yeah. All right. Up next, then, we had the Rock promo thing. Rich Brennan waiting outside a limo that's in the backstage area, opens it up, turns out it's The Miz, but then as Brennan is walking with The Miz, kind of interviewing him, The Rock's truck pulls up and he gets out of it. He goes through the backstage area, talks to The Miz, talks to Big Show, talks to Lana, gets to the gorilla position and talks to the crowd, asks them if they're ready, does a countdown, and then his music hits and he comes out. So before we talk about what happens when he gets out to the actual arena, John, I know you have some things to say about his little walk from his truck to the arena, so go ahead.
Yeah, I'd say I loved like 85% of it, you know, because I loved him just not even really looking at The Miz in the face when Miz first started, like, you know, having his little tantrum. And then Rob being like, oh, hey, Miz, how you doing? Looking like a blind nun, you know, park the Rock's truck. You know, that was great. Just immediately shut him down. The Big Show interaction was the best. Yeah. Oh, my God. And I have to give credit for the Big Show. I know, like, a lot of people crap on him, and I know that you and I, when we feel like he's deserved it, we've been no exception. He carried his weight here. He did his part in this interaction, because Rock just rubs in Big Show's face the different trajectories of their careers. And Big Show doesn't even, like, get, like, this heel angry. He plays it because he, like, crushes this laptop. Rock is like, that is amazing. That's what you do, right? Yeah, that's what I do. And the Big Show just looks like he's just ready to cry. Yeah. And Rock's like, hey, I love you, man. And Big Show's like, yeah, I love you too. Like, just perfect. And I think why this was my favorite, and I was talking to Ashton about this, guys, this reminded me so much of something like 2003 heel Rock would do. And it just really made me miss heel Rock. He's been babyface for so long. He's always going to be babyface because he's a lot like Undertaker. He's invested so many years in this business, and he's The Rock. Like, he's not going to get booed unless he really makes a conscious effort towards it. But it really made me miss those days because, man, that was just great how he stuck it to him. Lana, of course, we talked about it. It had its uncomfortable moments because, again, slut shaming is not cool. Sex shouldn't be a taboo thing. 2016. Come on, guys. You know, it's the 21st century. Let's all get with it right about now. In ring, it was whatever. You know, that's when The Rock really just became typical Rock. I did like when he said, time to go off script, and he interacted with the fans. I thought that was probably a Coleman for them, so I was happy for those guys. But New Day, though, just like any progress that The Rock made with the whole backstage portion of it, New Day just overtook him with their stuff here because they are just so good. And I love the confidence they have no matter who they're interacting with. They were just fine interacting with Edge and Christian, and they were just fine interacting with The Rock here. They're confident in their gimmick, they're confident in themselves, and it freaking shows because they are consistently some of the best performers on this show every week.
Yeah, you've got to think that has something to do with the fact that they just are being themselves. Like, they aren't concerned with playing characters or kind of what I was referring to earlier, having consistent character, traits, elements, motivations, whatever you want to call it. They are just being themselves, and they're reacting the way they would react, and they're turning the volume up to maybe not 11, maybe like 17 or 18, but they're still, at the end of the day, that's just them. They're just, they're just crazy, goofy guys. They're, everyone has that goofiness to them, and that's the thing too. Like, everyone has those friends that when you get around them, you become more goofy yourself.
Right. And I love that that's the friendship here. It's funny because when you break down what the New Day actually is, on paper, it wouldn't sound like a heel gimmick, because it's just three really close friends having the time of their lives.
Well, that's what makes them the heels, though. And I think if nobody else in the WWE's higher ups would get this, Triple H would. Being able to show up and enjoy yourself in front of everyone else, whether they care that you're enjoying yourself or not, is a great way to get heat.
Yeah, because I think, I don't want to get too psychoanalytic here. I'm certainly not Freud, but I think there's probably that envy, like, oh, look at these guys able to come out of their shells when we think that we have to keep up appearances and this, that, and the other. These guys just do not care. And I think there's just something incredibly endearing about that. But yes, I can also understand because they do it to such a point where it becomes cheese, cheeseball and corn-worthy, it just, starts getting booed and it gets that heat. These guys are an incredible act. Rock's retorts. See, it's funny because with me, some of the Rock's retorts, it was hit and miss. I liked the llama penises line, but then I think after that it kind of went downhill. Didn't really
see the crazy thing, even with the llama penises line, the funniest thing about that to me was the New Day's reaction to it.
Yes, and I think I even put here, yeah, I did, because what really made the Rock work, connect here with me was the idea that it was the New Day receiving it, because these guys emote just so well. Their exaggerated offense at being made fun of, it just gets me every time, particularly like Xavier and Kofi. And of course, Big E gets in on the eye, but Xavier, his facial expression when he's just like offended or in pain, he is just so freaking good. Yeah, the New Day really made us. Rock pretty much ends the segment like he invites New Day come down to the ring so he could shove the trombone, up all three of their candy asses. Of course they decline. They try and leave. Rock says, "Oh, I got a plan B. Family." Usos come out. They clean house. And yeah, that's when it really just kind of for me and was just really full on grown worthy because Usos again, really. But other than that, I had a great time with this segment. One of the few times that I actually enjoyed The Rock more than just wanted to get through his segment. So, good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. This was the Usos, to me, are the worst part of Raw now. Like, they've overtaken Roman. I've accepted that the WWE is just going to shove Roman Reigns down our throats and up our asses until we are basically using Roman Reigns as a piece of freaking floss. But the Usos, like, I understand pushing Roman Reigns because at least he's got the look. The only thing that the Usos have going for them is the relation to The Rock, and it's awful.
Yeah, I mean, even me, because I used to be, big on the Usos. I just think for me, it's a matter of overexposure. And that's the thing. Even with guys that you like, unless you really like that person, overexposure is going to diminish their value every time. I don't care who it is. If the Usos would get their championship match, but then properly be relegated to the back of the card, I may not go back to being a big fan of theirs, but I wouldn't be so critical of them because they're being treated like any other tag team, you know? But they're not. They've got this privilege of like, oh, just infinite championship matches until we get the gold. And it just really annoys me. So
Yeah, and
not really more
to
I can say
me,
than that. Is there anything else?
honestly, I think the worst part about the Usos being in this everlasting hunt for the tag titles is that I always feel like they're going to win them. Like every single match, it's not even fun to watch anymore because the entire match, I'm just waiting for the Uso cheese to happen and for them to win the titles out of nowhere. And it's made me not even enjoy watching Uso matches anymore, where I used to and be able to, appreciate the Young Buck-esque offense of the Usos. Now, I just want them to go away.
And I think even if you're an Uso fan, and I mean, if there are any fans of the Usos that are listeners to us, I mean, this is kind of my personal side inquiry, of the show. I would think even you've got to be a bit irritated because just the idea that you lose matches, to me, that's not enough to really define a struggle. When you get back in the hunt, like immediately the next night. Do win, what does it really matter when you were like you said, this everlasting hunt anyway? At least give credit to Roman Reigns. I know, take him or leave him with a lot of people. He at least has to, and again, logical fallacy, but he at least has to go through a triple threat before he even has a hope of going to WrestleMania. Like, where's the hoop for, Usos to jump through? Where's their hurdle to overcome? I feel like at least they're doing that right with Roman to a degree that they're not even getting right with the Usos. And that's why I think I'm still able to and take it easy on Reigns and even defend him at times, where with the Usos, I'm just like, you're on your own. I don't even feel the need, the inclination to come out here and speak in their favor, because there's just no struggle. So that's just how I feel about it. Is there anything to say about this?
No, let's move on. And I believe that up next was our Divas tag match, Total Divas tag match, I should specify. Natalya and Paige versus Alicia Fox and Brie Bella. I'm imagining this match might have originally been slated to get like 6, 7, maybe even 8 minutes, but then The Rock happened and it ended up being 90 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, what my review is going to be? I'm going to read directly from my notes. I said, not much to say about this. Quick match that saw Paige and Natalya go over. Everyone involved has no substantive storyline outside of the fact that they're all on Total Divas. Do better, WWE. That's my review. Because there's really nothing else to say.
I don't think they're ever going to try to do better with these girls, though, because it's like the WWE almost seems like they aren't trying to concern themselves with making interesting storylines for the Total Divas girls when the Total Divas girls are Total Divas girls and they already have storylines from Total Divas because of that.
And see, to me, that's a disgrace, because I'm not even saying, because you knew I grew up in the Ruthless Aggression era. Like, that was my period.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that every storyline that didn't involve a championship was like this fantastic thing. There were misses, but at least they tried. Like a storyline that immediately comes to my mind, because SmackDown for a long time didn't have a championship, as you know. So all the championship storylines were on Raw. But one of the big storylines on SmackDown that I remember was Tori Wilson, Dawn Marie, and Al Wilson, that whole debacle. Now, I'm not saying that storyline was fantastic by any means, but at least they did something. At least they tried telling a story of, like, this conniving woman in Dawn Marie wanting to make Tori Wilson's life hell through seducing her father and just really just embarrassing Tori Wilson and humiliating her and frustrating her at every turn, which culminated at Tori beating Dawn at Royal Rumble that year. So, not the best storyline, but at least they put effort and they're like, okay, we're going to showcase 2 women because we don't have a title. That's on Raw. Let's put our backs into it. These women are not embroiled in the Divas Championship picture, and the difference there compared to the parallel that I just used from the Ruthless Aggression era, you've got talented women here. I mean, Natalya's good in ring, regardless of what we think about her as a person. Paige is great. Brie Bella, I mean, I'd actually prefer Alicia Fox if we're going there, but you could do something here, and instead you choose not to, and no excuse for that whatsoever. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're slightly overrating Natalya, but I'm not trying to say that she's bad. I think Paige and Alicia Fox are the most entertaining thing in this match, and I'm pretty sure that if we were to make a singles match between the two of them, given that they're actually feuding on Total Divas, it could be pretty entertaining, but that's probably going to get blown off on main event, so why am I even bothering to talk?
Exactly. And with that sentiment in mind, let's move on because I don't want to waste another breath talking about this altogether.
The Miz!
Yeah, The Miz comes out and he says, I am tired of being interrupted. I'm only to be interrupted again.
By Kalisto.
Kalisto comes out. Yep, Kalisto comes out. We get Kalisto versus Miz. I said that I had fun with this match. I like that Miz was more aggressive because he was angry throughout the night and because of recent weeks of constantly being interrupted. So he was really looking to just pummel and punish Kalisto. I actually put here as a side note, it would be interesting if Miz getting constantly interrupted would lead to some kind of character progression. Maybe him reevaluating his career or coming back with like a different strategy, but I highly doubt that because that would require some thought. Regardless, I did appreciate the creativity of the finish with Miz trying to go for the skull-crushing finale and Kalisto, getting his feet on the ropes and then using that momentum to push himself off and get Salida del Sol on the Miz for the 3 count. So I really like how they're kind of building Kalisto's offense. Like, he can be creative, he can find ways out of sticky situations, and he's going to fight to the bitter end. They're continuing his great booking as a babyface. He's really having a stellar year. I mean, he's going on his second run with the U.S. title. He won here tonight. No interactions with Del Rio, so I'm going to say that this program's probably over between the two. And,
which is
Kalisto,
weird because now where does Kalisto go? Like, he obviously had this match with Miz, but he won. So are they just kind of sort of just going to keep putting Kalisto in singles matches against people until someone beats him and then, oh, hey, you get a title shot?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I think is going to happen. Like, Kalisto's going to suffer a loss somewhere down the line, and they're going to do that whole, oh, well, he beat the champion, so you'd have to think, logically, that puts him in line for a title shot. And, I guess I don't mind that, but I think Kalisto does deserve better as a babyface whose stock is on the rise. I would like to see him engage, in actual with actual stories.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and condemn WWE when they haven't even committed that wrong yet. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Kalisto does get the win, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So once this match is over, we get right into our main event. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose versus Sheamus and Rusev. And, this is another one of those cookie-cutter tag team matches. There really isn't a lot to speak of. The finishing sequence is interesting because you've got Roman Reigns just eating all the kicks. Like, I think he gets an enziguri from Rusev, a super kick from Rusev, and then a bro kick from Sheamus. And who comes to make the save? Dean freaking Ambrose. Ambrose always has Roman's back when Roman needs it most, and yet Roman never seems to return the favor. However, in this case, it worked out for the best because we get Rusev, I believe, on the outside taking care of Ambrose after Ambrose broke out the pin, and then Reigns spears Sheamus for the win.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Cookie cutter tag team matchup. To me, I even put here that it was a main event. Announcement, and that's exactly how I felt about it. Smart move having the Ambrose and Reigns go over here. After the matchup, though, there was a pretty cool post-match beatdown that saw Ambrose and Reigns powerbombing Rusev through the announce table. Announce table had a great impact, just really well done there. Of course, then we get the Fastlane announcement that we really touched on thoroughly in the Heat of the Night segment, so I have nothing more to say there. Ash, make.
I'm sorry, what was that, John?
I said, already talked Fastlane announcement thoroughly in the Heat of the Night segment, and because, I enjoyed the beatdown, but that was really the only noteworthy thing, because I agree with you about this tag team match being cookie cutter. Did you have anything you wanted to say about this?
Yeah, I do, just because we've already talked about the downside to the Authority making this triple threat and how dumb it is and how illogical it is, but all that being said, I am still really hype about this match happening, because if you think about it, this is probably the only chance that we are ever going to get to see Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar in the ring at the same time in not a tag team match or some other weird, crazy multi-man match.
And I will say this, too, to kind of the focus on Ambrose. If you're a very huge Dean Ambrose fan, and I know foreign commentary is one, and I've really become one myself with his babyface run. It really says a lot about how high his stock is that they can utter his name in the same breath as Brock Lesnar. Because really, I feel like WWE has only put Brock Lesnar in the ring with guys that they really want to see get in the main event, or those guys that already have a foothold, pretty deep in the main event. So for Ambrose to be in that mix, I think that spells very good things for his future. So I took it as a vote of confidence, personally. So I think if you're Dean Ambrose, whether it's the interaction with Lesnar or you look at it from a career standpoint, this is a win all around tonight. So I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, it's exciting because, and here's my thing, I'm going to end up making a terrible decision because of it, but as little hope as there is to be had, it's still cool that the WWE is still giving us hope that Dean is going to be maybe main eventing against Triple H at Mania.
I mean, how cool would that be between the Rumble tease that we got last night?
Yeah, because that's all
and
it
like
is
if he
a tease.
were to win the triple threat.
Yeah, that's all it is a tease, because we know Roman's winning. Like, there's the amount of doubt in my mind that Roman is winning this match is measured in something that probably doesn't even exist in science, because nothing is that small anymore.
Right.
Like, my doubt is literally measured in photons at this point.
Right.
It's borderline non-existent. And at that same time, I feel like come preview predictions, I might just decide to make that leap and be like, no, you know what? Screw it. I'm picking Dean. And I even have a rule. Don't ever pick Dean Ambrose to win a match, because 99% of the time you'll be right if you don't pick him to win. But there's just something about it. I want Roman. Obviously, Roman's going to have a big time match at Mania. They've been planning Roman and Triple H for so long, and they hate changing plans. So obviously it's not going to happen. But I have this little shred of doubt in my mind that maybe they'll do Roman versus Taker, since they don't have anything else for Taker to do, and they'll let Dean get the Triple H rub. But of course they're not going to. So shut up, Ashton. You don't make any sense right now. Just move on and accept that it's going to be Roman. As
a Johnny Mundo fan, I feel your pain on so many levels about taking that leap, brother. So I'm sure myself and all of our TWitWoW fans here will be able to catch you, when you fall, if you do take that leap in the first place. We shall see.
Of course. But yeah, I'm still super psyched for the triple threat match because of the three people involved. And I will say also, the one reason that I am 100% counting Brock out of winning this match is because there's no doubt in my mind that Bray and the Wyatt family are going to be the deciding factor in the finish. They're going to beat Brock down, and whoever decides to capitalize is going to win the match.
Oh, I'm about as certain as that as I am that Vince is out of touch. So, I mean, that's going to happen.
That is impressively sure.
So with that said, let's move on to our next segment, High Spots and Low Shots. I'm going to get the ball moving right away. My low shot is The Miz. Constantly interrupted, constantly punked out, and in his matchup, he was bitched out with a loss to Kalisto, got caught with Kalisto's finisher, Salida del Sol. His stock just continues to plummet. He is anything but awesome. So, yeah, Miz is my low shot.
Yeah, that's a really good pick. I was really struggling to pick my low shot tonight, so I decided to go with the one that I just feel like, the person that lost the most credibility tonight. Someone that, when you're in front of your hometown crowd, you've got to look good. And this guy really just looked horrible, lost all credibility. He's probably never going to be able to show his face in Miami again. Flo Rida got out-rapped by Bo Dallas.
Clever, getting the celebrity, in that low shot, getting that last kidney shot in there.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And then the great thing, too, is I can't stand Flo Rida's music, so this is a double-decker for me.
There you go. Revel in it, my friend. Revel in all of it.
And that's the thing, too, is, I don't even dislike rap music. I just can't stand corporate rap published that's exclusively for the sake of clubs and Yeah, like, give me some Lupe and I'll be good, but Flow Rider, no thank you.
Yeah, Lupe Fiasco is a beast, people. Honorary high spot, and you're probably never going to see this again, so like Ashton with Flow Rider, I'm going to revel in this one. Comedy. Comedy
yes.
is my honorary high spot, because I felt like every segment that had even like an intention to be even remotely comedic hit the target.
There are three that I can think of. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the three that I can think of right off the top of my head, obviously Flow Rider and Bow Rider.
Yeah.
And then The Rock's segment with the New Day and Goldust and R-Truth. What else was there? Was there anything else, or is it just those three?
I don't think it was anything else. I think it was just those three, but that was enough. I mean, I even have here in my notes. I mean,
if there was anything more than that, I imagine your comedy would have been your full-on high spot rather than just honorary.
Exactly. I mean, I even put here, I have never laughed so much during a Raw in a good way. I qualified. So, great stuff. I just had to highlight the comedy because so often that makes me groan just so much, but WWE got it right tonight for me. But my actual high spot is Dean Ambrose. Fought his heart out at Rumble, had 2 matches made to the final 2, and then he carries that momentum over into Monday Night Raw, wins a tag match, and despite not getting mentioned at all for his valiant performance, in the opening segment, they did recognize him here, and he is in the triple threat match with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, which, as we already discussed, when your name is in the same breath as Lesnar, you know you've achieved that echelon. You've gotten to that next level. Regardless of what happens with Dean, I think 2016 is going to be a very good year for him. Very easy high spot for me.
I like that. Yeah, that's a really good pick. That's honestly, if we were just going on who legitimately just flat out had the best night, I do think that you probably have the correct or at least the best option for your high spot. I went in a little bit of a different direction. My high spot, rather than going to someone who actually had the best night, my high spot went to the people. It's multiple people, 4 to be exact, 4 people who I feel went underappreciated tonight that should have been in that main event at Fastlane trying to vie for the number 1 contendership of the world title. Right. Like I said, there are 4 people: Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Bray Wyatt, and Kalisto. All 4 of them not only won matches tonight, but won matches against former world champions.
Yes, that's a great
Owens
point.
beat Dolph Ziggler, AJ beat Jericho, Wyatt beat Kane, and Kalisto beat The Miz. And as ashamed as I am to call The Miz a former world champion, it is still fact. It is still in the record books. He held that damn title.
Yeah, Ashton, that is a great point. That may be one of my favorite high spots that you've done. Really, since we returned to Raw, which is really isn't saying much. It's only our 3rd episode back for Raws, but I really like your justification for that. I think that's clever, and I totally see where you're coming from. I can sign on to that. Let's keep the momentum going with Raw request. I'm actually particularly proud of mine because I changed it last minute from one that I had prior. My Raw request: have Dean Ambrose drop the Intercontinental Championship between now and Fastlane so that he has a clean slate and thereby more unpredictability and tension with Roman and Brock going into the triple threat. Because I feel like if there's any hope of me suspending my disbelief that Ambrose can actually win this thing, he cannot go in with the Intercontinental title. So that's my Raw request.
You really don't like me very much, do you? You're trying to have, a commentator recording with you and having a heart attack on the recording.
Yeah. I mean, you know I take pleasure in your suffering, so, kind of established fact.
Bitch.
So... I'm guessing you don't like that idea in the slightest.
No, I love it, but the problem is I won't be able to handle it.
Okay, because see, here's my thing.
Because it'll get my hope up so much, and I can't handle it.
That's the point, though, because they have 2 routes for me. And if they don't do it, I can't really say I'd be ticked off because that'd be a lie, but it would be a head scratcher. You either have him drop the IC title before Fastlane so you free him up and he looks on equal footing with Reigns and Lesnar, like I have just as much to gain as you guys and I'm going all in. Or he gets the win anyway, and in the buildup of Triple H trying to get an edge over Ambrose at Mania, you screw him out of the IC title, kind of like they did. I mean, man, I'm really digging in my bag tonight. First a Dawn Marie, Tori Wilson reference, and now this. I mean, JBL and John Cena, part of their feud was JBL screwing Cena out of the U.S. title.
Yeah.
And that's when Orlando Jordan began his run. So,
I love both of those ideas, but then when Dean loses whatever match it is that he's going to lose, whether it's more likely the triple threat at Fastlane, or if he miraculously wins that and then Triple H screws him out of the IC title when Triple H beats him at Mania, and we save it for Roman Reigns to win the title back at like freaking Extreme Rules or something, I'm going to be twice as devastated, because now not only does Dean not have the world title, but he doesn't have the Intercontinental title either. And now he's going to get, even though he's the most over babyface on your roster, you're still going to find a way to lose him in the shuffle.
I'm talking right to you and right to everybody right now. This is me being sincere. I do not do this to give you a heart attack or to hurt any Dean Ambrose fans. This is me giving the biggest vote of confidence I have in Dean Ambrose as a babyface. Because he is just so freaking good and on such a roll. You need
I know that. Dude, you're coming from a great place. I'm just saying that I'm gonna literally die if it happens.
I know, I will too, but that's the beauty of it, because if they had the fucking balls to pull the trigger, and I could see this with Lucha Underground, I could even see this with NXT. The main roster, though, still has to prove today, and they probably never will, that they can wave at us with their left hand and deck us with their right with everything they've got. And they can do that here at Fastlane, because you know something, and I'm going to say it since this is the segment, and then I promise, Ashton, to let you get your Raw request, because I know I talk way too damn much.
Well, that's the thing, though, John. They're waving at us with their left hand, and then they're going to take a big swing back with their left hand, and then they're going to still try and punch us with their left fist.
Exactly. But the truth of the matter is, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, people, believe me, I'm not trying to convince anybody, but the truth of the matter is, I mean, I've talked to people on Tweetop, our boy Abel, other people. I certainly have it in mind. I think maybe you would have a contention with it, but I think you would certainly agree top 5. There are people that think that Dean Ambrose is the number 1 babyface right now. And if not number 1, certainly top 5. And I'd say you just agreed that he is the number 1 babyface. He deserves this road to WrestleMania more than Roman does, and yet it's been all about Roman.
The top 3 most over babyfaces in the WWE right now are Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles, and Sasha Banks.
Yeah. It's unfreaking believable, dude. Like, Dean has been killing it. He has completely elevated that Intercontinental title, and because that is your title, WWE, make it the stepping stone it used to be. Have Ambrose drop that thing and be the shocker of the world and go to that main event with Triple H, because I guarantee you, if you're going to do Roman, maybe it would get over, but I can guarantee you, if it was Dean Ambrose, that would get over. I could maybe give you a lukewarm assurance. Roman Reigns might work. With Dean Ambrose, it's a guarantee.
Have Dean drop the title to heel Jericho, and then have Jericho drop the title to AJ at Mania.
Yeah, that, I mean, because to me, and I did this big fantasy booking on Tweetop, which I'm not even going to talk about here, but either drop it to Jericho, or if you don't even want to do that and you want to keep it like with the authority thing, Sheamus, and then,
or just Rusev, or, I mean, it's never going to happen, but Barrett.
Yeah, just one of those guys. Free Ambrose up and have him do his thing, because you got to
strike. What did we used to call the Intercontinental Championship? Cement shoes?
Yes, and I want Ambrose to kick his off in the worst possible way. Like,
that was back in the day when Cody Rhodes had the IC title.
I know, brother. I know. But you know what? If I keep talking, I know what's going to happen. I'm just going to be repeating myself, and it's going to be redundancies, and it's going to be that infinite circle.
Yeah,
so, Ash,
I mean, we're already over an hour. We might as well.
Yeah, with that impassioned plea in mind, what is your Raw request?
My Raw request has nothing to do with, actual, like, I want you to do this with that character or anything like that. Nothing really super topical. My Raw request is more of a general thing. And tonight I realized just how much I want this to happen. Continue and really even expand on allowing performers to be themselves, like what we got with The Rock and The New Day tonight.
Yes. The best thing you can do for your entire roster is just let them find themselves. Let them, to your point, be themselves.
Yeah.
Because I think anymore, that's just the route to go. Because it just seems so hard for the writers these days in a contemporary environment to construct characters that connect. So if you can't do that, you gotta let the performers themselves figure it out. And again, just crank their already pre-existing personalities and maybe the most, joyous parts of it or whatever aspects of it to like the next level. If it's at, 1, take it to 10. If it's at 10, take it to 20, so on and so on and so forth. I completely agree with you. I mean, you've got guys like Stone Cold that have said it. I think guys like The Rock have said it. To your point, he had that segment tonight. So, I mean, legends have said it. You're saying it here. There's got to be some merit to it. So I co-sign on to that. Is there anything else you want to say about this Raw tonight?
Not about this Raw, just kind of a general statement. Just think, John, by SummerSlam, there is the possibility that we'll get to see Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles in the WWE.
And that sound, folks, was me having to change my pants when we go off the air. But before that, this has been Raw. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. Ashton, what question do you have for our subscribers this week?
Oh, yeah, about that. Let's just do this. Guys, what AJ Styles dream match are you looking the most forward to seeing in the WWE?
Yes, love it. Short, sweet, and to the point. Guys, get down in the comments below. Start that conversation. Be sure to take the discussion over to Pweetov. That is Pro Wrestling is taking over Facebook. A lot of good vibes, a lot of good feelings coming off of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and we are all looking towards Fastlane. But I understand if you don't want to be a part of a big hodgepodge group like that, you like a quieter, more intimate scene. Ashton has created a TWitWoW subreddit there. It'll be a nice niche community of all the most passionate TWitWoW fans, and there you will find all of our TWitWoW content, and you'll also be empowered yourself to create threads on all things pro wrestling. Be sure to go to Teespring and buy the Kevin Owens because he's a father, damn it, t-shirt, because he is on a roll and it is going straight to WrestleMania and you want to be there with him in style. And
Brother!
Brother! And until then, guys, it is here.
Lucha Underground on Wednesday!
Yes, like a kid in a candy store, baby! It is the return of the Wednesday Night Wars, starting with Lucha Underground.
It is the return of the Wednesday night extermination because it's so freaking one-sided.
Yes. Lucha Underground Season 2 premiere. The doors to the temple open, and we have such sights to show you. Until then, tune in and peace out.